All right. Well, you ready to
Yeah, let me
do
just.
this?
Okay, cool.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Welcome.
Welcome to Cranked and Ranked, but today it's what are you laughing at? I just
Just the voice crack. Sorry. just, yeah.
um to instead
Proven
of crank
removed.
we are a shit show so far today. Grooved
Uh,
and removed is what's happening today, folks. And that, if for those of you who don't know, that's one of our little offshoots where we
yes.
take a grouping of classic albums by a particular artist and we go through each album and debate if we had to remove one song permanently from the album, which one would that be? And pretty meaningless, but a lot of fun and a good conversation because obviously you can just go and listen to the full album and don't even have to worry about that. But anyway,
There's zero
um,
consequence to any of this.
yeah. And despite what my hat might tell you, we're not doing Anthrax albums. Although one day, I guess we would. But today
Yeah.
is one of Eddie's favorite bands, Megadeth.
Hmm.
I would say if you stop at the '90s, at the if you cut everything they've done off after Risk, because I like Risk,
Hmm.
they would be one of my favorite bands as well. But they,
So basically the first half of the career
yeah,
before
basically.
they took a step back.
Well, it's they did what a lot of bands did, which is kind of just they figured out what the middle of the road Megadeth was, and I say Dave figured out what that was, and just kept doing that to varying degrees of, in my opinion, success or failure. And it's
Hmm.
fine. A lot of bands do that. You get older, and it's easier to fuck with that, and then having to um, stick your neck out and do something new all the time. Anyway, so but yeah, I'm wearing this hat because I last night in Houston was the Anthrax show with Black Label Society and Exodus, um,
Nice.
which I'll go. I'm gonna, because we normally do this. We normally have discussions about like shows and things we go to. I'll try to be brief, but I have a few things to say. Number one, I like Exodus were good. I had fun. I'd never seen them before, so that was cool. Like a check
Hmm.
off the thrash metal list. I saw Exodus, and you know, they didn't play anything off Force of Habit. Didn't expect them to, but I'm one of those people that's like, that album's fucking great. Why ignore it?
Good day to die.
But they were good. But like the whole time they're playing, because they were the very first band that literally started playing, I believe 30 minutes after the doors opened, the place was already wall to wall people.
Wow, the Doors played?
The doors opened. Jesus Christ. Jim Morrison Jim Morrison came back from the dead. No, but as they're playing, I'm looking around. I'm all like, why the fuck is Exodus playing before Black Label Society? I was just like, this is the dumbest grouping of bands in the ordering of bands I've ever fucking seen. And so of course Exodus finishes
Hmm.
and a lot of the room clears out. Like there was a good amount of people there for Black Label Society, but noticeably less than
Right.
for Exodus. Now, I when Black Label starts, I go out and I get a beer and I come back in and I go, you know what? I know who Zach Wild is. I am the low rent Zach Wild, so I know that. Um, I know he's a great guitarist. I've never heard Black Label Society. I can't,
Hmm.
I can't think of a song, name a song. I don't know an album cover. I don't know anything
So a
about it.
sad Messiah.
So I'm all like, all right, I'm gonna give them a chance. I didn't make it one song. It
Wow.
is, they are one of the worst bands I've ever seen. and I'm not necessarily referring to Zakk Wylde, although his vocals are pretty lame, but his guitar playing is good. The rest of the band are just so boring, and the songs are all really boring, and it went on way too long. The only good thing about them playing was I utilized their weak ass mosh pit to just run through and get really get closer for Anthrax. But the whole thing was like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm wondering if like Black Label being further up the bill could be because Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante are in Pantera, or
I'm starting to think it's a bit to do with Zakk Wylde's celebrity, if you will. But there were plenty of fans. There were a lot of people with like Black Label Society patches on the back of their jackets and stuff. And the one thing I can say about those people is that once I got to a point in the crowd where there was a whole bunch of those people, I'm all like, this is like being at a white supremacist rally, because that's what they all looked like that. And I was like, is this a thing that I'm not aware of? But anyway, the songs were all pretty much the same song with really boring riffs. Nothing interesting. And then every time Zakk would like play an open chord, he'd stick his hand in the air like, this is the best fucking thing ever. And people were like, woo! And I'm like, don't encourage him, folks. But it went on too long. I thought it was their last song because there was a big ending to it. And then they just switched guitars and then played another really long song where the two guitar players literally together are playing the same 2-note solo where they're just going for like 5 minutes.
Funniest thing is, sorry, I know you're talking, but the funniest thing is the moment you started doing, your voice cut out for some reason, so it was just you going.
Oh, it's the Zoom settings through this. I don't know why it does that. I got to figure that out. Anyway, they went on too long, but by the time they were done and Anthrax were about to go on, I was about 3 people from the front.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. Came here for Anthrax. I'm excited to be here. And the crowd was way rowdier than I expected, because you look around and like we're all 40, 50-year-old people except for a handful of younger people. A lot of older people there. So I was just like, all right, this is going to be like, because I went to go see, Carcass recently, and there was no pushing or anything. There was a little pit, but like nothing like that. But Anthrax starts, and literally for the whole show, we're all kind of jammed up. And I'm a little bit tipsy, and so I'm just enjoying the fuck out of it. So my biggest gripe about the show has nothing to do with any of the bands, really. Didn't like Black Label, but the biggest gripe of the evening, and maybe you can relate to this, or you people out there have been in this situation. So we're being just like pushed up against each other the whole fucking show. There's a dude in front of me who's like a little bit shorter than me, and I noticed about 4 songs in that he's not moving at all to the music. He's just standing there, not even nodding his head, not wooing at the end of a song or cheering. He's just standing there. And also I noticed that his attire, his whole thing, his glasses, his little short beard, and his like lumberjack shirt, I'm all like, this guy would rather be like a Modest Mouse show than an Anthrax show. And then I realized, he's here with his girlfriend that's in front of him.
Right.
And so the entire night, the whole crowd is just like moving. This motherfucker won't budge. He's pushing back on me. And I'm just like, and I just wanted to grab him and be like, dude, why the fuck are you here? Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, if it's a concert like that and you don't really want to see the band, I don't care who your fucking girlfriend is. She can go up on her own. You go somewhere else and get out of my fucking way. I'm trying to enjoy myself. But literally, the dude did not move or do anything the whole goddamn performance. And he's stuck right in front of me. So anyway.
That's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to say anything, but at the same time, you're like, bro, you're killing my fucking vibe here.
I know. And that was the thing, is that like, maybe if I'd had one more beer in me, I would have said something, but I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to be that dude. But at the same time, that fuck, I don't know who that guy is, but fuck you. And don't go to shows anymore or go stand at the back. So But anyway, it was a fun show. Anthrax played pretty much the same set they've played for 30 years, and it was fun for me because I was up in the front. They were really fucking loud though, like so
Yeah.
loud that my ears have not recovered since last night. Like it's there's still weirdness going on, and I'm a little bit rough today.
Hmm.
Because I'm not, I'm going to be 45. Being in a not a pit, but being in where the pit's behind me, it's all pushing me up, and then there was a lot of crowd surfing, so there was a lot of like,
Yeah.
oh shit, got to help this guy over, I got to help that guy over, and I'm not used to that. So I woke up today and I'm just like, holy shit, man, I
That was a
can't.
workout.
I cannot do that kind of thing. And there are very few bands that I would put up with that for. Anthrax is
Yeah.
one of those bands. Other bands, if the crowd is that stupid, I'm going. I'll find a place. I'll find a place kind of right behind the mosh pit, and then go, watch the rest of the show. But so I'm feeling it. But I'm definitely going to need
He's his cup of Joe.
my coffee, and also what better pick me up if you're feeling down with your coffee than some hobnobs.
Hey! Hell yeah!
This episode is brought to you by McVitie's Hobnobs.
We have a hobnob fan up in
I
here.
fucking love these. These are
They're
amazing.
incredible. They're incredible.
I even like the other ones that are just the digestive ones or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. I don't know. You probably people in England are just like, yeah, they got those in every store.
Well, here's the thing. While we're on a hobnob tangent, I once ate an entire pack with like split an entire pack with a friend who I was sharing a tent with on a hike for like the D of E Duke of Edinburgh Award. Hey, there it is in all its glory. Get it up to the cameraman so they can.
Also, I don't know if you do this, but I've put these in the fridge.
Yes,
and they're good. And then do a little dip in the coffee.
Beautiful.
You can't see this in the podcast world, but I'm eating on camera. Don't worry, I'm only going to have one.
This is the Cranked and Ranked Mukbang edition.
Or maybe I can do some kind of a chewing ASMR thing.
Yeah.
My wife hates that. My wife hates chewing sounds. And honestly, I don't blame her because sometimes they get on my nerves too.
It can be proper cringy, can't it? Yeah. That being said, hobnobs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're exactly the kind of I guess you call them biscuits over there, right?
Yeah.
That I like because it's got a little bit of sweetness, but also it's crunchy and it's not like overly sweet. It's just that nice middle ground. I'm pretty sure these over here, these would be seen as like old man cookies. Like old men would be into this kind of thing.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Some things are unfuckwithable, and hobnobs are that.
Oh yeah. I don't know why these haven't taken off over here, or there's some kind of rip-off version because I've never seen one.
It's almost like the hobnob is the cool brother of the digestive.
Oh yeah.
It's like the digestive's walking around in a Loverboy shirt, and this guy's walking around in a Carcass shirt.
All right.
That's coming from a guy who likes both bands. So
Get you a man that can do both.
Hey.
All right, so I promise that's my only hobnob because I'm not going to be chewing on the microphone the whole fucking time. But I just wanted to give a shout out to because I tried these because of you.
Yeah.
Because we had a discussion about British sweets and treats and shit like that, and I'm a fan now.
Would you say you like hobnobs more or less than a Jaffa cake?
More because I like the crunchy.
Yeah.
Jaffa cakes are really good too, but yeah, I like the crunchy on these.
Yeah.
I love everything crunchy. Like when you make cookies, like I'm all like, oh no, make them. I want them crunchy already. I don't want them gooey or I have one that's like soft and gooey, but then I like to have them crunchy.
Oh, see, dude, I'm telling you, cookies, you gotta get if you ever come to the UK. Tesco, triple chocolate Belgian cookies.
Oh shit.
They're fucking good. They're gooey, but they're damn good. It's basically
That's all right.
It's like a flat brownie. It's fucking awesome.
Nice. All right. Well, that was that portion was brought to you by McVitie's. What else does McVitie's make? Anything else besides these cookies?
They make quite a bit,
Yeah.
but they're generally known for their biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings
Cool.
us to that we got that commercial out of the way. We're now being sponsored by Hobnobs. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Pay us royalties, please.
And so now we're on to the task at hand, which is grooving and removing songs from the first 6 Megadeth albums. So Killing is My Business and Business is Good all the way through to Euthanasia. We thought about going even further than that, but I don't know. You kind of get the point with 6 of them, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we were originally going to do the first 5, but being as Euthanasia is my favorite, and
Yeah.
I was like, I can't leave that one out.
It's
that one's my baby.
Plus, to me, it kind of feels like the end of an era, and the only reason I think it feels like that to me is that was the last album Megadeth put out in the MTV Headbangers Ball era.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Because after that, there was very little metal on MTV aside from Korn and Limp Bizkit and things like that. But yeah, so I always see that as like, oh, that reminds me of like it was about to end, and metal was on the way out for a little bit anyway. So yeah, and I've got my records here just as a reference.
Nice.
Just in case I need it, but I've got my choices. For the most part, I'm pretty satisfied with. And so what we have to do is we each on our own chose which song we would want to remove. Mm-hmm. And then we will debate. Or if we pick the same song, then that's fine. But we did have a couple rules, and the rules were no removing cover songs or intros / interludes kind of things, because that's too easy.
Yeah.
So
or
it has
instrumentals.
Or instrumentals. Got to be a legit full-on Megadeth song with vocals and whatnot, probably lasting longer than at least 2 or 3 minutes, that kind of thing. So, are you ready to begin?
Whoa!
That's
talking about some Dave.
That noise indicates that it is time to talk about Killing is My Business and Business is Good, the very first Megadeth album. So track listing, I have an old vinyl, and the track listing on this one is Last Rites, Love to Death, Killing is My Business and Business is Good, Skull Beneath the Skin, These Boots, Rattlehead, Chosen Ones, Looking Down the Cross, and then Mechanics.
Yes.
And so with that track listing, what did you decide to remove from this album?
Okay, so I have chosen, and this wasn't easy. I have chosen Looking Down the Cross.
Okay.
It just felt to me like at that point in the album, there's a lot of like quite tasty, groovy parts, despite the ferocity that this album is known for. There's actually a lot of quite tasty, snazzy little bits.
Oh yeah,
in all the other songs.
Yeah.
This to me at this point in the album, it just felt like it had like kind of the least to offer. It had. I mean, you get Last Rites, Love to Death. Holy shit! What an introduction to this band. Then Killing is My Business is unforgettable banger. Skull Beneath the Skin, Rattlehead. Chosen Ones has some killer parts in it. And then we reach Looking Down the Cross. Well, here's the thing. I was thinking to myself, am I going to put the Mechanics? But then I thought, that's an important part of this album's aura, because Mechanics is the absolute petty bitterness of the early beginnings of Megadeth.
Yeah.
Because obviously Mechanics and Four Horsemen.
Well, the funny thing about this is on the back cover of my version, there's the thank you list, and the very last thing on the thank you list says Metallica for proving the true blood of metal runs through our veins. So they thanked Metallica on the album. So
can you imagine if like drama YouTube channels existed back then, they'd
Yeah,
be all over this
yeah,
shit.
yeah. Metal Injection be all over it.
Oh my
Or
god,
Metal
this is
Sucks.
like the tea.
Metal Sucks. I ain't gonna disparage Metal Injection. That's actually a good site. Metal Sucks is the one that actually sucks.
Well, at
Um,
least they admit it.
yeah. So my choice, it's very unpopular, and I'm going to piss people off, but Mechanics was my choice to remove from the album simply because the song. If this had come out before Kill 'Em All, I might feel differently about it. And I realized that Dave wrote it. I'm doing that in quotes because he did write this version of the song, and it's almost like I really feel like the song was vastly improved by Metallica. The lyrics and mechanics are awful.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be
Glam.
This is going to be sacrilegious, but it's also too fast. There are some songs that you can play too fast, and then it just becomes like a blur. It's the riff doesn't get enough air. Whereas like, and I know this is, you hear older versions and it's played faster, but it's not played this fast. It's actually faster on here than Metallica played it. But so to me, it's almost just like trying too hard to be like, remember that song? This is how it really goes. And he's like just wanking off really quickly, And I've never really liked it just because I'm like, I mean, I do like it. Like there's nothing truly off this album that I would ever skip. I think it's a great and classic album. But that's the one that I'm just like, yeah, there's a better version of this song. And so much so that I wouldn't even call it another version of the song. It's just a different song that has the same verse and chorus. I guess one of the middle parts is similar as well. But seriously, like the most genius thing that Metallica did with that song is slowing it down, because you get to the middle in Mechanics and it's just I'm like, where's the fucking rhythm there? Whereas like in the Metallica version, it sounds like fucking horses galloping. I mean, it's great. It's fucking great. So yeah. So I think out of all these songs, Mechanics is the one that I would get rid of, because I even looking on the cross, they all have those little parts that I go, ooh, shit, man. And so yeah. So I mean, here comes the part where we kind of decide which one we're actually going to remove, because only one can go.
I'm willing to concede that Mechanics is the least essential track here, based solely on the fact that it exists in a better form elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I would wager to say how Four Horsemen is the best song on Kill 'Em All. In my opinion, I think it's
my favorite is probably Whiplash, but I think Four Horsemen is arguably probably the best, for the whole song presentation,
the craft of it.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's the most indicative of where they would end up going, like with lightning, puppets. I think little dog face to a cold-hearted pussy.
That's another album that has grown on me like crazy.
We need to at some point just do, for the sake of it, just a Lulu dissection.
Okay,
because
absolutely.
I'm down. I am down. Like we just go in depth on that album, because like, even if I'm not nearly as big a fan of it as you are, I find it to be one of the most interesting blips in their kind of career. I say blip as in like, holy fuck, where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely do that. But this is why Dave Mustaine gets pissed off all the time, because we can't talk about Megadeth without just talking about Metallica. But Dave, we always do. I'm like, Dave, we do, but I'm like, we do that with every show, Dave. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. You wait till I start talking about Grand Theft Auto.
So Mechanics, you're okay with Mechanics getting removed?
Yeah, I like it as a statement of intent, but honestly, like, I listen to this to smirk about you know, the feud, you know.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
I listen to the Four Horsemen to be genuinely satisfied with a composition. That being said, I don't think the thing I'll say about this album, I
Mhm.
don't think Metallica ever wrote anything as bitterly angry as this album. This
Oh
album
no,
always
yeah,
sounded so furious to me, like, holy shit, this guy's pissed off. It's like
yeah, no,
Metallica already knew that they were great. Dave had something to prove, you know?
yeah, yeah. I feel like the difference between the two bands at this point was that Metallica was the band that your average, Iron Maiden loving, vest wearing metalhead could just go and be like, "Ah!" Whereas Megadeth always around this time, or for a while, seemed like more like a band that the other guitar players and other music nerds would go see just to be like, what are they playing?
Yeah.
Wow. Because
Just the fucking
they were jazzy with it and shit.
the rings of Saturn of their day, so to speak.
Yeah. Except they didn't wear their guitars really high or whatever. Do those guys wear
Nah.
it? It seems like that kind of band.
There was still
Um,
some rock and roll in
yeah.
there.
All right. So yes, from killing is my business and business is good, we are removing mechanics.
hmm
And yeah, it makes sense because it's like it's like write a bunch of new songs and then throw an old one at the end of it. I'm like, maybe they were short a song or something. They had to have been short a song. Why would they cover these boots? I like that cover, but why do it? Come on.
Now I will say as well, while we're on the subject of these boots, I heard the censored version first, but I thought it was hilarious. Like, in a sense of, this is so tongue in cheek already that the censor beep over what he was saying just fucking cracks me up every
What's
time.
beeped out? I don't remember.
Oh, that like nearly all of the lyrics. So like there was a big controversy
Yeah,
surrounding it. The original, who was the original?
Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah, the dude that wrote it
Oh, I
was
don't know who
like,
wrote it, but yeah,
yeah, the guy that wrote it was like, this cover's vile. They've utterly perverted my vision, right? And so they were like, oh yeah, that's fine. They threatened legal action down the line. So like subsequent pressings have a version on it where Dave's like, you say you got something for me, something you call love, but I go boop. You keep fucking boop. It does kind of fuck the song up, but in the same way.
yeah,
I listened to that song for like cheap fun, so that kind of just I think of it more as a remix than anything. But I always thought the beep was funny. Me and my cousin used to listen to it on the way to school, and we would just laugh our heads off, and
yeah.
people would
It's
think,
weird.
"What the
It's
fuck are
weird
they
that that
listening
was
to?"
the. It's weird that that was like the compensation or whatever. It's like, no, you can still have it on your album, but you have to beep out words. That's really strange. Anyway, but that brings us to the second album that we're going to be grooving and removing.
hmm
Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? Their second album. And track list on this one: Wake Up Dead, The Conjuring, Peace Sells, Devil's Island, Good Morning / Black Friday, Bad Omen, I Ain't Superstitious, My Last Words. A
All bangers.
absolute classic album.
Yeah,
And yeah, what did I remove from this? This one, this one was hard. I think
yeah,
out of all
yeah.
of these, this one was probably the most difficult for me to choose a song because obviously I would have just removed I Ain't Superstitious, but we
hmm
made a rule. So
Yep.
that's got to stay. So that being
I'm
said,
gonna
go for it.
I'm gonna back you up on that because I'll be honest, man. I haven't fully committed to one of two songs yet. I have two here.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So this is a grooved and removed first, where
Okay.
I want to see what you say. I want
Okay.
to hear you out first, and then we'll take it from there. Because
Oh,
I
you want me
there's
to go
two
first?
songs. Yeah, you go first on this one because I can't genuinely can't pick because I love everything on this album.
All right. So I kind of went through the songs and I actually I know them pretty well, but I started to kind of jump back and jump around in the songs and be like, what is the main riff of the song? What is the chorus? Where does the song go? Is this song similar in certain ways to a song that's already on here? And so after doing all of that work, I narrowed it down and my choice was Devil's Island. to
Okay.
remove, because it's a great song, but it doesn't have quite the big payoff that a lot of the other songs have. And so yeah, that's what I mean, there's really nothing else to say. It was just the one that I'm like, I guess it would hurt the least to get rid of this song. So I don't know.
Okay, so I am torn between Devil's Island and Bad Omen.
Well, I guess Devil's Island is the answer then, because I
Yeah,
chose it.
because like here's the thing, I was toying with the idea of it being Bad Omen on account of Looking Down the Cross being later in the album. So this one I was thinking, well, if this one doesn't bring the same thing to the table, but the moment the guitar solo came in, I was like, nah, I can't get rid of this. I
Yeah,
cannot get
there's
rid of this. Like
yeah.
the Pac-Man sounding guitar descent, just like that sold me. I was like, nah, I'm not getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mr. Chris
so
Poland on guitar, although I don't know who did that part. That's probably if it's Chris Poland or Dave Mustaine at that part, but
I mean, this album's a fucking thrash
do
guitar
they
tour
I
de
wonder
force.
if they have that on the in the record here. I have my vinyl, everyone, for those listening at
Oh,
home.
oh,
But I was
show the back cover to the camera real quick. Look at Dave. Look at that sexy fucker.
so they don't. No, they don't. I really like it on some albums how it'll have the lyrics and then it'll say solo and it'll say who does the solo.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, at least not on this pressing of Peace Sells. So you would have to like see him play it live, I guess, at the time and see like, well, who does what solo. But all right, so I guess Devil's Island is getting removed from Peace Sells, but who's buying? And that was like the most difficult one, really. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it ended up being easier for the two of us. So
Okay. So going forward,
moving forward to the third Megadeth album, we're moving kind of quickly here. So let the tangents flow if they happen. Have I told
absolutely.
you how much I love Hobnobs? So far so good. So what? I love that my copy has the old school
Yeah.
parental advisory sticker, like
Oh wow.
before they had the official one.
Yeah.
It just says a little sticker that says parental advisory.
Wasn't there one as well? I think this may have been in the UK where there was just a big like exclamation point. I've seen a few stickers like that on
I've
pressings
seen
over
those,
here.
but I don't. But I always thought, because there were some records that came out that had a weird sticker on them, sort of trying to tell you that this is the hot new item or something, you know. And
Hmm.
I don't know if that's what it was, but we didn't have them for parental advisory. It was always just a really bland sticker like this, and then finally the one that everybody knows with the black and the white, you know, that was the
Yeah.
parental advisory sticker. But anyway, so far so good. So what? This is the track listing from that album: Into the Lungs of Hell, Set the World Afire, Anarchy in the UK, Mary Jane, 502, In My Darkest Hour, Liar, Hook in Mouth.
Mouth. Hook and
Um,
mouth. It's time to
so
do an obituary.
Hook in mouth. Feel the blood spill from your butt.
Sorry. We get carried away with obituary.
So once again, if we had not made our rules, Anarchy in the UK would have been completely removed, mostly because I get very annoyed that Dave gets most of the lyrics wrong. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and they literally had a guitar player from the Sex Pistols play on the song, and they could have just run it by. I'm like, am I saying these words right?
The best part is, and I said this on the Megadeth album we did, Megadeth episode we did, I'm pretty sure Steve Jones, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve Jones.
Yeah, yeah, Steve Jones probably like heard him singing it wrong and thought it was hilarious, so he probably just never corrected him.
You are probably right.
Yeah. It's
And
like,
this also would have been around the time. Do you remember? I mean, have you ever seen any of the stuff where Steve Jones started a band in the '80s and he had really big, long hair, and it was almost
no.
like a punky hard rock music he did, but he literally became a rocker where his like he had this big old mane for probably from around 87, 88, maybe something like that.
Holy shit! He looks like he belongs in Dangerous Toys.
I know. But he did, I think, at least a couple albums with a band where they did sort of like hard rock music. And he just embraced the big old hair of the 80s.
Holy shit, what a 180.
Yeah. Anyway, so but I'll let you go first for what you decided to remove from So Far, So Good, So What?
Okay, so I was looking at the track list, and already Into the Lungs of Hell and Anarchy in the UK are exempt, as one is an instrumental and one is a cover.
Got it.
Set the World Afire is never going anywhere, because that is probably one of my favorite Megadeth songs, full stop.
It's great.
To me, there's a bit of a dip for me in like the mid of the album. Like Mary Jane's awesome, but then 502, it was at 502 where I was like, okay, here's a contender. I love it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But in the context of everything surrounding it, I was like, okay, In My Darkest Hour is staying, Liar is staying, Hook in Mouth is staying. I went for 502 personally, because half of it's just a cop chase.
yeah. I also went for 502. I've always thought that song, because if you look at
shithead,
if you look at all the lyrics for the rest of the songs, there's a part of me that, like, in my brain, I think of like Dave, with some glasses on and a cup of coffee, writing these lyrics. He's really taking his time. And then later in that night, he's completely drunk. And then he writes 502. You know what I'm saying? Because it just does this shift to just like, I like cars and stuff. And I'm just like, all right, guys.
just turned on World's Scariest Police Chases and started writing what he saw.
Yeah. So that's an easy one. 502 gets removed. To be fair, like Into the Lungs of Hell is kind of this is one of those albums that it annoys me, because there's an intro and then it goes into the next song that also has a long intro. And I'm just like, okay, this is way too much buildup. Is this an all instrumental album? I mean, when you first listen to it, you're like, when does he start singing?
Yeah.
But yeah, 502 is the one that I like it. It's fun, but it seems like there's a lot of on a lot of Megadeth albums, most of them, there's that one or two songs where lyrically you go, did he let some kid write the lyrics to this, or like what happened? But I guess it's fitting for the song, and it's perfectly cool. I can't, other bands write songs about girls and cars and shit, and I don't care. But I think it's just because it sticks out a little bit for Megadeth. But
yeah, but when you have a song like Set the World Afire,
yeah,
and then you follow it up with "Pull over, shithead, this is the cops,"
Yep. All right. Well, that was easy. 502 gets removed from So Far, So Good, So What? So now we move on. Nope. No more coffee. I'm actually doing a lot better than I thought. I'm feeling less exhausted than I previously was.
Fair enough. Yeah. That's good.
It's the energy from the Megadeth that I'm feeding off of. So that brings us to my favorite Megadeth album, arguably their best. Some people would disagree, but it's, I love it. And that is Rust in Peace. Rust in Peace. And like I always have to bring up when I talk about this album, no, I'm talking about the actual mix and mastering version of this album as it was intended to be heard by the person that knew what the fuck they were doing, which is Mike Klink. Or you don't get Dave Mustaine fucking it up. That's the thing that really bums me out, is that it's become so normal for people to just hear the fucked up version that people will comment and go, I don't know why people like that album. It's not really produced very well. I'm like, because you're fucking listening to this bullshit thing that Dave did to it. The actual version that everybody bought back in the day still sounds fucking phenomenal to me. So great.
I'm coming from a place of I heard the remasters first for years before knowing it was such a significant difference.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a remaster. This is a remix. Like,
yeah.
And it's like
different vocals too.
Yeah.
on
And
parts.
to really drive the salt into the wound, it took place in the mid 2000s when production was all over the fucking place.
Ooh, it was bad. But
Um,
this is a good
yeah.
example of how Dave Mustaine does not have anybody around him to tell him no, because other people would have heard that and said, "Let's not put this out."
Well, if
But
they did, they were fired. So,
yeah, that's absolutely true. Anyway, so the classic listing of songs from Rust in Peace is as follows: Holy Wars, the punishment due, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners, Five Magics, Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, Dawn Patrol, and Rust in Peace, Polaris.
Polaris.
And we cannot remove Dawn Patrol because it's kind of an interlude,
Mm-hmm.
but every other song is on the table to be removed. And so this one was, it's weird how I love this album so much, but there is one particular song that I'm just like, there's not enough going on here. And so
Yep.
I'll be happy with that. So which one did you choose for your removal from Rust in Peace?
Okay.
I'm
Say
trying to
it
like
with me.
wait, oh, are we doing it together?
Yeah. Yeah. Just say it with me. Three, two, one. Poison
Poison
was the
was the
cure.
cure.
There you go. It's just it feels it genuinely feels underdeveloped because it's like half the song is an intro and the rest is just a speed metal track. You know?
I like the intro part. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns into a song that sounds similar to Take No Prisoners in the speed and everything
Yeah.
about it. So it's when you get to that part of the song, it's not very unique. The thing that makes it unique is the you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that well shit, this has been easy.
Yeah.
So Poison Was the Cure gets
Okay.
removed from Rust in Peace. And yeah, that's when they fucking brought in Marty Friedman and Nick Menza. Man, Nick Menza gotta be in like
Yeah.
my top favorite drummers. Like I love, and it's not, he sounds great on albums, but you go watch live footage of Megadeth from,
Mm-hmm.
90, 91, 92, and you watch him play. It's almost like he's more interesting to watch than anybody in the band because he's got like
Yeah.
those cymbals hanging from the chains and everything.
Yeah.
And he is one of those
the Volca rack. Yeah.
but he's a really animated drummer. And
Yeah.
the grooves were just, he got right in the pocket with those grooves. And like he was such an asset to that band. And then,
And
Marty Friedman's good, but
and he had the kind of smile on his face the entire time that said,
oh,
I love my fucking job.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Taken too soon from us, Nick Menza, but
Absolutely.
But he did some incredible work while he was here. But that brings us to another one with the same lineup. I guess some people considered this the end and the of the classic era. But I honestly, this is my second favorite Megadeth album, Countdown to Extinction. And it was I remember when this came out, and I remember going to the record store and buying it, and so half of the tracks on this album, I remember at the time thinking to myself, is this even better than the Black Album? Because like the songwriting on like half the songs, I'm just like, God, these are so fucking good. But there's other songs on it that I go, oh, this one's not that great. But a lot of those, this is not that great tracks have grown on me over the years. And so here we got, let's see, Skin of My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction, Architecture of Aggression, Foreclosure of a Dream, Sweating Bullets, This Was My Life, Countdown to Extinction, High Speed Dirt, Psychotron, Captive Honor, and Ashes in Your Mouth. Lord have mercy. So this one, there was another obvious one for me to take out of this one, but I'll let you go first.
Well, for me, it fell to two candidates, and these are pretty deep into the album. But here's the thing, right? Skin of My Teeth, amazing. Symphony of
Yep.
Destruction, amazing. Architecture of Aggression still spins me out to this day.
It's one of my favorites on the album. Yeah.
Yeah, like the intro, I still fuck up the timing with the fill. Get just like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird janky ass thing going on there, but I love it. Foreclosure of a Dream is amazing. Sweating
Mhm.
Bullets is amazing. This Was My Life is amazing. Countdown to Extinction, I wasn't as into it, but it really grew on me over the years.
Yeah.
High
Yeah.
Speed Dirt is amazing. Psychotron and Captive Honor. It was between these two for me, and Ashes in Your Mouth is a fantastic closer.
By virtue of the jury's decision and the power vested in me by your state, I hereby sentence you to be incarcerated with no possibility of parole for life.
Life? What do you mean, life? I ain't got a life.
Boy,
Captive Honor, ain't no other.
you got to do, boy, your soul better belong to
Belong
Jesus.
to Jesus.
Because your ass
Your
belongs
ass
to me.
belongs to me. Oh man. Honestly, it was between these two, and I find myself enjoying Captive Honor more because it's it's got so many Davisms in it. It's
Yeah.
such a weird song, and it stands out to me. Whereas Psychotron to me feels like the inner ramblings of my child self playing with Transformers toys.
Yeah.
You know,
Bionic and organic. Not a
Transformers!
cyborg.
yeah,
Robots in disguise.
You are true or right with that, but I actually really like Psychotron because it just seems really
Yeah.
like a really
Yeah.
nerdy song, and I like that about it. But so I didn't actually choose either one of those for my track.
Dave's a funny character because like he exhibits so many jock-like qualities.
Yeah.
And then immediately follows it up with some of the nerdiest shit you've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a multifaceted individual.
Yeah.
I chose High Speed Dirt because
Wow. Holy
it's-
shit.
it doesn't really give me. I like that song, but it's too similar to what Skin on My Teeth already did, and probably in my top 10 cringiest Dave Mustaine moments is Jump or Die. And so I chose to remove that. But to be completely honest, your argument for Psychotron is not. You're right that it is. The other songs have a lot more technically going on, and that one is. Yeah, it is very sort of basic when it comes to Megadeth songwriting.
To me, again, this is one of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah.
I love everything on here. This is like the real beginnings of my favorite like era of Megadeth. Like you know, the moment the Rust lineup shows up through to Risk is my favorite era. Like I'm of the controversial line of thought that I think their 90s era is actually better than their 80s era, which is strange for me because generally speaking, I am a more 80s fan of most bands, but
Yeah.
Megadeth is a major exception to that rule.
You know what?
That
I would agree with you especially if you're including Rust in Peace as a 90s album, although, you know, you can make the argument that it was made in the 80s, but yeah, because like the way that I look at them as a band and how they were at the time, the fact that they made this album that to some people would seem way more accessible, but it still has a very lot of Megadeth in it. And then they started sort of just experimenting with different versions of what they were doing with Euthanasia. They slowed things down and got a little more, it's like a more mature album and chunky. And then Cryptic Writings, they kind of like found a weird middle ground almost between older stuff and their current sound.
Yeah.
But then with Risk, they flat out just actually did an album where they tried something new, and I think it's really good. And that to me, if you're a regular listener, you know how I feel about these things. That makes a good band. If you have ever in your career you take a sharp left turn and at least do something of a good quality, even if I don't necessarily like it as much as other stuff, doesn't matter. That is a big tick box on you being a band that I admire. And so I would say their 90s output is way more interesting than their 80s output. So
that's the thing. And that's why it's my favorite era. That being said, for me, I cannot let High Speed Dirt not be on the album. It's so, like, to me, there's just so many sections I've always loved. There's like the Call of Cthulhu chord in a fast riff, and I quite like the kind of rednecky.
Oh yeah.
I get carried away with cool parts, but yeah, it's, to me, I think it's Psychotron. It's a deep album cut. It's, in my opinion, the clunkiest song on the album. Yeah, I'm going with Psychotron.
Okay. All right. Psychotron gets removed from Countdown to Extinction. Now, I do not have Euthanasia on vinyl as a reference. So if you have that track list pulled up in front of you, we can read through that, and then we can do our choices for what we are going to remove from Euthanasia.
Okay. I want to preface this by saying this feels like I'm having to shoot one of my kids because I love every song on this album almost equally.
Yeah.
This to me is the most consistently, I'm at 100% fuck yeah all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So Reckoning Day, awesome. Train of Consequences, awesome. You know what? I'm giving too much away by saying that. All these tracks are awesome. Yeah. Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, A Tout Le Monde, Elysian Fields, The Killing Road, Blood of Heroes, Family Tree, Euthanasia, I Thought I Knew It All, Black Curtains, and Victory.
Yeah.
With that, I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, okay.
The dynamic shifted on this episode.
So once again, I guess for a lot of these choices, it's a thing that sticks out to me from the rest of the album. And for Euthanasia, the majority of the album really has a very mature and almost like they're just sort of relaxed with the direction that they're in. And Dave Mustaine, in my opinion, does his best vocal performance on this album. And the songs just really like feel, I don't know, they're effortlessly cool. And then all of a sudden there's a track where it feels like it doesn't fit and it's a little bit immature in what they were doing, and that is Victory, the very last song on the album. Because it feels like they tacked on a B-side at the end of the album. Because and once again, lyrically, give me a break, Dave. So yeah, I had to. It is a good song, but it just doesn't have the same. If it has more. It feels regressive in a way, where this is a song they would have done years before, and they're doing it now, and it just doesn't. It kind of ruins the tone of the album for me. But I mean, people like that song, so it is what it is. I'm assuming you didn't choose Victory, which makes me fascinated to know what you chose, though.
See, here's my thing. Having like this album to me is like Angel Dust, where it's like a start to finish experience. Like, I hear one song, I have to hear them all.
Yeah.
Honestly, looking at this track listing, I am, I'm at full mast the whole time. There's no semis.
Temple.
Yeah, it's a babe. It's magically babelicious.
Check off Wayne's World on your bingo card.
Now, initially I picked Family Tree just because the subject matter kind of bums me out a little bit. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you stop and think about what the lyrics are about, you're in for a feeling like you need to tell them on the doll where they touched you. You know?
Yeah.
But like the problem is with that, it's still a fantastically written song.
Yeah.
It's a dark subject and it's handled in a tasteful way. And I will say, Victory.
That word, tasteful. I feel like a lot of the album seems very tasteful, and then Victory
Yeah.
does not feel that way to me.
Here's how I've always treated Victory. It's like it's like a credits song where it's like,
yeah,
hey, we're wrapping up. You had a
it's
good
when they're
time.
showing the bloopers during that part of the credits.
Yeah. And that's how I've always kind of viewed Victory, as like, to me it also feels like, and now I know that the lyrics are very on the nose and cringy at points, you know, it's all kind of tied together with Megadeth song titles. Like many of the lyrics are, you know, kind of shoehorned into this thing. That being said, the chorus where, you know, Dave says he's a victory, if he'd dropped this song and never brought Metallica up again, this song would be a fucking win. Like, imagine listing off, hey, look at this incredible body of work. Like, this is all me, you know?
and then in that one, the next Metallica album comes out, and it's just a song where they go, Master of Puppets. And it's an even louder mic drop. It sounds like a fucking canyon is being made. And it's like, that's it. That's obviously personal preference, but whatever.
To me, like, Victory, it's got an excellent guitar solo in it as well.
Oh, yeah. Is there a Megadeth song that doesn't have a fantastic guitar solo in it?
True.
They're all there.
Yeah, to me, as I was listening back through this album, I was like, this is going to be the one. And then I heard it and I was like, oh, but it's so good. And like every time that happened, and I get to the last song and I'm like, I'm going to pick this based off nothing musically in the end, because I thought to myself, do you know what? Family Tree is like, it was on one day in the car, and like myself and my girlfriend kind of looked at each other like, I'm kind of uncomfy right now. It's one of those like contemplative tracks that you play to yourself, but like, you know, to me, it's literally just based on the theme. Every other part of this album, and honestly, that is the most nitpicky technicality thing I could come up with for this whole album. The rest of it is just fucking incredible. To me, I will say I recognize Victory is one of the lower songs though when it comes to. So yeah, honestly, I'm happy for you to swing the axe on this one.
All right, yeah, no, because I really do think that even though Family Tree is very dark, it's almost like the album is kind of building towards something darker at some point. Like you get that feeling, and then you get that song, and so I just So I would. So we're going to remove Victory, and there you go. What it was. So we removed Mechanics from Killing Is My Business. We removed Devil's Island.
Yes.
From
Peace Cells.
We removed 502 from So Far So Good So What. We removed Poison Was the Cure from Rust in Peace. Why do I want to say Rest in Peace? Is that's an Extreme song that I think is really good. And then we removed Psychotron from Countdown to Extinction, and then Victory from Euthanasia. The only one that wasn't on my list was Psychotron. We matched up so much This was the easy.
Yeah.
I think this is the easiest one we ever did. If I remember right, I think when we did like Alice in Chains, like we were just arguing about all these different things.
Yeah, I think because with Megadeth, when I don't know, there's like one distinct song on every album where everybody's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
You know what the funny thing is that fuck it. Let's on the fly. Let's do the next two albums. Let's do Cryptic Writings and
are you
Risk.
serious? I literally
Because
opened it up. I opened up Cryptic.
Because there's a song on Cryptic Writings that is easily the one I would remove, and I've seen some people say it's one of their favorite Megadeth songs, and I'm always like, how?
Okay, cool. Let's
So read through the track list real quick. We're doing calling an audible here, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up '90s Megadeth with Cryptic Writings and Risk. So here, let's do it.
yeah. Cool. Well, we both know Trust is staying.
Yeah, great song.
Almost Honest, Use the Man, Mastermind, The Disintegrators, I'll Get Even, Sin,
I love
The
that
Secret
one.
Place. What, Sin?
I'll
Yeah.
get even with you.
Oh, yeah, I love I'll Get Even, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Little Black Book.
Sin, A Secret Place, Have Cool Will Travel, She-Wolf, Vortex, and FFF, Fight for Freedom. Um, for me, this is another Euthanasia album for me. This one's full mast, rock solid. For me personally, I'm gonna raise my hand and go Disintegrators.
Okay. Honestly, I think that I would like this album a lot more if the production was more like Euthanasia or Countdown to Extinction. The production on this album is part of the reason why I don't like it as much, because it feels a little bit too under. Their songs need to feel bigger, and these feel smaller on this album. But a song that I just for some reason can't ever get into is She Wolf. I just think it's really, once again, I just feel like it is one of those sort of like he was just drinking and then he wrote a song, and it's like, and it doesn't I mean, I guess there's a few songs on the album that would probably fit into that, but some of those at least have like a uniqueness about how they're presented or how they're played or the kind of song they are in the Megadeth catalog. And She Wolf is not different enough and lyrically not good enough to really like stay with me. But then again, you know, you're going through all these tracks, and like the one that I mentioned really liking is I'll Get Even, which is very like mid-tempo with melodic chorus. It's not very metal at all, you know.
Yeah, for me, I think She-Wolf, chicks dig it for a start, you know, because it's She-Wolf.
Yeah.
And I have seen that firsthand. Anyway, as I was saying, can I get my mind off women for 1 second, mate? Yeah, the Disintegrators for me, it's the first one where it feels like it's like, oh fuck, we're speed metal again. Whereas like it just feels like a bit of a very sharp left turn vibe wise. Whereas like you know you get Trust, which is essentially a restructured Enter Sandman. You get Almost Honest, which is their foray into.
It's a restructured
like,
Trust.
Yeah.
Which both of those songs are a retooled Angry Again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you get kind of a like an alt rock ish kind of hard rocking, Almost Honest.
I love those.
Use them. Oh yeah, for sure. Use the Man is very Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
Mastermind is kind of groovy.
I tell you what to think.
Yeah.
Disintegrators is awesome. Like I love the chorus on it. But then you get I'll Get Even, and honestly, I'm just feeling everything around that song a lot more. Like I love Sin, Secret Place, Have Cool Will Travel. She Wolf, I've never had a problem with. I actually really like that one. Vortex is Vortex is really cool. There's some awesome riffs in that, and Fight for Freedom is like see. Here's the thing. I feel like Fight for Freedom did what Disintegrators didn't for me. You know,
You
at
yeah.
nearly as much.
Now that you're mentioning it, it does make sense. You're right. And I don't want to upset the chicks if they if they dig She Wolf. You know, I'm not tied to that opinion to really stand my ground with She Wolf. So Disintegrators could easily go. Yeah, that's an album I need to go listen to another few times because I think that that's the last one to grow on me. Like all the other ones that from the up through Risk have become albums that I really, really enjoy. And then that's the one that's kind of on the end of like, there's things I really like about it, other things that I think still need to grow. And so, but I got time for Dave, for 90s Dave anyway. So
that's kind of nice though to have an album that's probably going to click down the line.
Yeah.
You know, because I usually find that with stuff that I hear and I'm like,
it's
is it clicking with me right now?
it just sucks because that's another one of the albums that suffers from the remix thing. And so I always want to go listen to it as it sounded. And I don't have it. I mean, I don't even think it's on vinyl, is it? And then I don't have the CD of it. Yeah. So so every time I want to listen to it, I go, fuck, I can't. I'm so annoyed at the remixes that like when they just come up on shuffle, like I'm listening to Apple Music or whatever, I skip them because I'm just like, I can't listen to this remix of, I mean, Rust in Peace is the worst, but they did that to count down Euthanasia, Cryptic, and Risk. With Risk fucking it up a lot, in my opinion, too. It's almost as bad as Rust in Peace. Anyway, so let's do that. From Cryptic Writings, we'll remove Disintegrators.
Yep.
Which
sounds good.
I'm fine with that. But that moves us on to one that I think is going to be a difficult one for me anyway, and that is Risk. From, was that 1999? That's when that album came out.
It's the one album here that I'm actually older than.
Hey, so, all right. Hey. So
I was there, man. I was shitting in my nappy, but I was there.
Yep. All right. So let's take a look at the track listing for Risk.
Okay, Insomnia, cool opener.
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness. Now, the interesting thing is, everybody shits on Risk, but they open their shows with the intro to Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, but then they don't play Prince of Darkness.
Nah. I'd quite like to see that though, you know, especially the Enter the Arena is an interlude, which on the remaster is completely fucking redundant because they fucked up how it runs into the song, so it just cuts off and then Crush 'Em starts.
Once again, somebody didn't listen to it until Dave No, and so.
Oh man! But that being said, I love Crush 'Em. Breadline, I love. You know, I fucking love Breadline. The Doctor's Calling. I like the cool, weird, added stuff going on.
Yeah,
I'll Be There. I really like as well. It's funny. This song always reminds me of the Spyro games because it's got like a flute sample in there that sounds exactly like one of the levels.
Yeah,
and it's every time I hear it, I'm like, yeah, get those fucking gems, dude. Collect those fucking gems. Wanderlust is Megadeth doing Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. I always sing Bon Jovi over the top of this song just to annoy my girlfriend. Like, I'm an outcast and I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. Ecstasy is a hooky one. Seven's a hooky one as well. Like, honestly, to me, oh man, can we just like merge Time the Beginning and Time the End into one song so that we can just circumvent having to remove something? And just
we should just remove Time the End just to fuck with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
Oh man. um, honestly, looking at these, bear with me. I'm going to listen to a
Yeah.
quick snippet of Ecstasy.
Okay.
Entertain the crowd.
Okay. Hello. This part of the show is brought to you by McVitie's Hobnobs. Delicious biscuits for you to eat with your coffee when you're hungover and exhausted from a night of being a 45-year-old man in a mosh pit. And so, but there's great. You got some crispy, you got some chocolatey. What all is on here? Rolled oat and whole wheat biscuits. But it's the rolled oats and the whole wheat that gives you a little bit of those carbs and the energy that you need, and then you get the sweetness. So it's almost like you're not eating anything healthy at all. In fact, well, some people would say there's nothing healthy about Hobnobs at all. But are we done?
It makes your boner bigger, hence the knob.
Oh, okay. That was go out and buy Hobnobs at your local grocery store. I have to find them. There's an aisle that's like international foods, and there's this one really tiny like UK section.
Nice.
And that's where they got the Hobnobs. Anyway, did you listen to this song?
I listened to both Ecstasy and Seven and decided that I both like them for their weirdness of being Dave doing some off the wall, totally not metal stuff. I'm inclined to pick Wanderlust because it feels the least original of anything on the album.
So that's it. When you said that name, that I immediately thought maybe Wanderlust is the one that has to go, because I like that song. But you're going through all the rest of them. Well, you're going through all the rest of them, and I think all of the rest of them have a very unique thing going on.
Yeah,
especially with Megadeth, and then Wanderlust. It's unique for Megadeth, I guess, but it doesn't have that same quality of it doesn't feel experimental. A lot of the rest of the album feels experimental. Wanderlust doesn't necessarily feel that way. It feels like if you decide to experiment with something that's pretty fucking easy to do, it's like if at the end of the album you're like, you do all this free form jazz, and then at the very end we're just going to play chopsticks on the piano. It's like, well, I mean, it is different, but not hard to do.
And as much as it pains me to say it, because I love this song, it is the closest Megadeth have ever gotten to going, you need a car that's built tough like you. The new My Matsu Monster. All
right. Well, then we're Wanderlust. Sorry. It sounds wrong both ways
Wanderlust.
I say it. Is removed from Risk. And hell yeah. So that was good, because we were pretty quick here. This was been the most agreeable we've ever been on Grooved and Removed, I believe. But we managed to do 8 albums. We managed
slashed and mashed to be a mess.
We've made it all the way through to the point where my love of Megadeth ends after that. Not that they didn't make a couple good albums, and I mean, we did a Megadeth ranking a while ago, and I mean, I like things on all of their albums, but they've become a band that has lost a lot for me, and so they're no longer a favorite of mine. But all these albums we talked about have qualities of a band that I love, so there you go.
Very nice.
Sweet. Well, that was fun. Everybody who's, if you're listening, you can't really do anything besides email me, but you can do that, oldheadpodcast@gmail.com. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment what songs you would have removed from each of the albums. And join in on the fun, and also comment if you are currently eating a hobnob while you are watching or listening to this. Because
this episode is going to screw up so many people's diets, man. You've just been angling it right in their face.
Well, to be fair, like, just eat, because it's the serving size is 2. So there's, and that's 190 calories for 2 cookies.
Serving size is such bullshit. You gotta have at least 3. Like,
I literally could go through an entire box if I didn't stop myself.
I
But
have once.
because some things are just so good that it's just
Yeah.
it's like Oreos are that way with me too. Like you like regular Oreos, if you just like if I get
Yeah,
started, I'm like, oh, I just eat this whole sleeve of Oreos.
I tell you what, man, like the double stuff ones, I love those.
I
Just knock 'em back.
honestly like I like the cookie part more than the cream part. So
Mm,
the lesser cream to me is the perfect like amount. But I see
fair
people
enough.
like that. Have you ever had the ones that are like also surrounded in chocolate? And it's
Yeah,
like
the snow enrobed ones, yes, the white chocolate, they're very nice.
the one thing that I've always wanted to try that I've never been able to try. This may be a uniquely American thing because it is unhealthy as all fuck. Fried Oreos is a thing where
Mate, you're talking to a bloke from the land of the deep fried Mars bar.
oh,
Okay,
okay, never
we
mind,
can't
never mind.
talk. We
But I've never had that. I've always wanted to have like a fried Twinkie and a fried Oreo because like
Yeah.
those sound like awful for you, but absolutely delicious. And so I just want
Yeah.
to try them one time, but I've never been in a situation where I've been able to do that.
Well, I can quite safely say, as someone who has managed to have 2 fish and chips this week. It is
Nice.
definitely not good for you, but I don't regret it either.
Were they both from the same chippy that you went to?
Nah, different chippies. The one nearby, was at one point in the top 10 in the UK.
Nice. This is
Yeah.
the most British podcast episode we've ever done because we're done. It's literally
Yeah.
like hobnobs and chippies, and it's
Dave getting the Sex Pistols lyrics wrong.
yeah. Where's
Yeah.
where's Steve? I guess we have to talk to Steve Jones. Steve Jones, I think, still
Yeah.
does a radio show like on Sirius XM or something like that. Anyway, and then Johnny Rotten is becoming insane or something, So
I don't know.
that's for a different that's for a different episode where we rank the one Sex Pistols album.
Should we rank the songs in that case? Like, just go way in depth.
Yeah, I love that album. So that's definitely a possibility, but it's
Yeah.
the only legit Sex Pistols album. Although we could, because there's the other version of the album that's called Spunk that has some of the same songs, but then some different songs. Do you ever hear about that with the Sex Pistols album? Like what happened with that? Is that so?
I have a surface level knowledge of the
So the
Sex
album,
Pistols, I gotta be honest.
had a release date, the Nevermind the Bollocks version of Sex Pistols. And then I think the week or month before, a bootleg version of the album called Spunk came out with different song versions and some other songs that aren't on it. And apparently that sold a whole lot of copies, but nobody ever came out and admitted who it was that put it out. And the rumor is that it was actually Malcolm McLaren, their manager, who was just trying to fuck with things. And he's like, oh, you know what? Before the album's officially out, I'm going to put out a bootleg version of the album. And so,
No way, Anarchy in the UK is called Nookie. Came into this world as a reject. Look into these eyes.
DJ Lethal. All right. On that note,
made my day.
we have gone all over the place with this episode, but we covered a
Like
lot of
a
Megadeth.
champ.
Take him to the Matthews Bridge. That didn't sound very British what I just said, but whatever.
Take him to Tower Bridge.
Take him to the chippy. Okay. So this has been fun. This has been Grooved and Removed, the Megadeth edition.
Yes.
And we're the next week we're going to be taking off, but we'll be back with another ranking, and it's going to be. So far, we've kind of been throwing a lot of these curveballs at our audience. Like we're not going to let you get too comfortable. We're not going to do the thing you think we're going to do. We're probably going to do something you don't think. But then there are a couple artists. Yeah, we're on. This is our load era of the podcast. No, but to be fair, for those of you who are still watching, the peanut butter platypuses out there, I will tell you that there are a couple bands that people have been asking for that we will be doing relatively soon. There's a big one that a lot of people are like, why haven't you done them yet? And we're going to get to that one, but not yet. But anyway, do you have any parting words for the audience here?
I mean, I guess Johnny Rotten did it all for the nookie.
I don't think the lyrics are any different in that, but I have that one. They actually released a special, like, I guess it was for Record Store Day or something. They put Spunk out on vinyl. And
Wow.
I honestly think I've only listened to it once, so I need to go back and revisit it again. But anyway,
Doesn't the US and the UK have a different cover art for the Nevermind the Bollocks as well?
I think it's
Like,
just a different color.
Yeah, the American version's green and pink, isn't it? Whereas ours is yellow.
Yeah. The one that I have is the pink one, which is actually like an original 77, which I did not buy. It was one of those things that when I started dating the woman who would become my wife, I was going through her record collection. I'm all like, "Oh, you got Sex Pistols," and I started inspecting it, and I'm all like, "Is this a 1977 version of Nevermind the Bollocks?" And I was just like, I even went like check catalog numbers. I'm like, "Holy shit, this is from 77." So but she just happened to find it, go rummaging through some stuff, and she bought it, and I'm just like, well, shit, man, that's why I married her, really, just so I could have that.
Oh yeah.
Among other things. But that's a nice little bonus. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us for Grooved and Removed. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be back with another ranking. And it's going to be it'll be, on the different side of things for us, but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So that being said, once again, thank you to the Peanut Butter Platypuses for being here. And I should take this opportunity to plug my even though most of you can't listen to it, I do a radio show now over on this app called AMP that is right now only available in the US and only available on Apple devices. Although I do think that you can go to a browser somehow and listen, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. They say that you're able to, but I haven't been able to find out how. But if you look on all my social medias and below in the description of this video, you on my link tree, there's a link. And if you are from America or whatever, you can click on it. And I do a radio show. Yeah, I do a radio show every Friday night at 8:00 Central. And unfortunately, right now, I think the app has only been publicly available since November. Before that, it was in beta. And so there's a whole lot of things that it's actually really good already, but they need to update it because there's no archive feature. So literally I do a show live and it's usually about a 90-minute show, but then when it's over, it is gone. Like there's no show to listen to. It is live. But I'm able to like play music because it's attached to Amazon Music. So it's got all sorts of shit. And so every Friday I put together a special mixtape for the few people that want to come listen and then listen to me chat about music a little bit and have a grand old time. Anyway. So,
nice.
Just keep a lookout for that. But also for my peeps over in the UK, hopefully it's going to be expanded soon. I don't know why they wouldn't already be. That's got to be coming very soon because the fact that the app doesn't seem to have any problems. Like it runs really well and it's really easy to use. Like you're not, the testing stage is over. Now let's just blow that shit out across the pond so more people can listen. But even then I'm doing a fucking show at what's probably like 2 a.m. over there. Anyway. All right.
Just wake up halfway through my sleep. Like, okay, 4 hours done. Listen, back to sleep.
You can just put it on while you're sleeping, and the dulcet tones of my voice or whatever, and the music. And I'll be like, are you enjoying your sleep? Here's cephalic carnage. Anyway, all right. That's it for this episode of Pranked and Ranked.
You're on the late night hour with Old Head. Next up is Genital Grinder by Carcass.
Hell yeah.
It's like if the song doesn't disturb you, the production job on that song will disturb you. All right. This has been the longest outro ever. All right. Thank you for listening and or watching this episode of Cranked and Ranked / Grooved and Removed. We will see you all next week or 2 weeks from now. Yeah. And as usual, I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Nice podcast. Tell the Reader's Digest.
Later, dude.